everybody, how's it going? Devin here from Lightning Lessons, also known as Gentle Return, coming at you with episode number 3 of this series of indeterminate length on closed voice triads. Okay, so why do you want to learn this? Basically, the idea is by only using the notes that exist in a chord, like we're going to do G, the notes for that are just G, B, and D, and by only doing G, B, D, or flipping it around B, D, G, right, or D, G, B, that using that creative limitation gives us kind of more artistic output in a way, right? It gives you more ideas. So what does that look like, right? Maybe you've watched the other videos, maybe you haven't, but basically maybe you know this G chord. All right, I'm gonna turn off my delay pedal there. Maybe you got a G like this, right? Or maybe you know a bar chord or a power chord, right? Like that, right? And that might be the only ways you know how to play a G, but perhaps you might know from watching other videos, or now you will know, you can play a G like that, right? Like that, like that, right? And that's also, again, just only using the G, B, and D. So it's like this like shell voicing that kind of gives its own like kind of characteristic tone that I'm calling like this chunky indie rock sound. Because I think that kind of sounds like a lot of music that I like to listen to, at least. I would say that sounds a lot different than if you're playing. Okay, so that's generally the idea of why I think this is useful to learn. It also kind of opens up the fretboard to playing things in different ways, and especially it's useful for if you are into recording your own music and you like to layer parts, right? Like I like to do in some of my music. So maybe you have a song that has like a G, right? And you have a recording of that already. Well, if you want to add other guitar parts to that, you could double it, right? But after a while, it's this kind of sounds, similar. And if instead you're like using this idea, it can give you a little bit more textures in your recordings and your songs if you're playing live as well too, right? So let's dive into it. The quick recap of before is that on the low 3 strings, it would sound like this, right? That's G, B, D, B, D, G, right? And this is D, G, B like that, right? And then it repeats. And again, for like the longer look at the first video in this series, right? And then moving along to the second 3, we're going 3 strings at a time. Right? That's G, B, D right there, okay? B, D, G like this, right? And then D, G, B like this, okay? And then to extend that idea, that fits here, here, and here, okay? So just to play each one, you have, and then that repeats, right? If you want to try and fit everything all the way up there, right? And then coming from here, and maybe going down, right? Going up. And then if you want to. Okay, so again, that's review. For a more in-depth look at the previous 2 videos. Now, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna look at these 3 strings, right? The D, the G, and the B. And we're just gonna try and play the G chords on it just as the triads, right? So we're not adding extra notes. And again, meaning the triads, we're just gonna play G, B, and then D, okay? Or we're gonna flip the order, but it's always gonna be G, then B, then D, or it's gonna be D, B, then D, then G, or D, then G, then B, okay? Now, basically, the first thing I'm gonna do is look at this D string, and I'm gonna try and find a G note, right? And I'll use the method that I used before, which is like, okay, so I know this is a D, right? Now, that's an E, right? And again, no flat and sharp between E and F, therefore that's an F, and then look, that's a G right there, okay? So I want a G, a B, and then a D, so you have G, B, and then D, okay? So that's 3rd fret, 4th fret, sorry, 5th, 4th, 3rd, okay? And again, everything for this video, we're gonna go just the D, the G, and the B strings, okay? So here we go. This is a triad, right? G, B, D. You'll notice it sounds like it fits with other things you might know about how that sounds, right? Now, again, what we're doing is we're flipping this on top, so we're looking for this B note on this string here on the D string, okay? So G, A, B. There's a B note right there, right? So we want B, then D, okay, and then G. Okay, and for those of you who are astute observers, you'll notice there's only one space of one fret here, okay? There's the difference in the difference in tuning between the B and the G strings. Topic probably for another video, but so you have B, then D, then G. And again, this is fret 9, 7, and 8, okay? So here, 5, 4, and 3, 9, 7, 8, okay? So now we're looking for this D, okay? So we know that the 12th fret is an octave, so there's a D note right there. So we want D, then G, then B. I think that's kind of cool, a little flat thing across. So just on the 12th fret, that's a G triad, right? It's kind of an interesting idea, right? You can play like that, that. I would prefer this finger, doesn't really matter too much, depends on the context too. So, I mean, those are the triads in this version. There's a root position, right? First inversion, second inversion, and then it repeats, right? So all the way up here, that's 17th, 16th, 15th, right? And then if you're gonna squeeze it, okay? Now, one thing I left out, if we notice that this is on the 12th fret, that means that that's a G chord, right? That's kind of cool. I've heard people mention that they think that the guitar is like kind of in the key of G in a way, right? You get these open strings, and that's a G chord. It's kind of cool. It's a D, a B, sorry, D, G, and then B, right? So that's nice, right? So maybe let's recap. G, B, D, root position, 5, 4, 3. B, D, G, first inversion, 9, 7, 8. And then D, G, B, second inversion, 12, 12, 12. Okay, and then when I say that repeats, perhaps that hasn't been clear, but for those of you this might be clear, but I'll just explain anyway. What I mean is that after the octave, right, you can see that the dots actually are similar to, from the nut, there's 3 frets, right? So 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, right? And after 12, it's 15, 17, 19, right? 21. So that, I'm just saying you take that and slide it up, right? Take this, and you can slide it up by 12 frets, okay? Similarly, this, open, sliding that up by 12 frets. Okay? Cool. Anyways, just a little bit of an idea of something. And again, this is only in the key of G. And really the idea for you might be, should you choose to accept like an assignment, right, to expand that, right, to maybe try another chord as well, like potentially C. And then practice yourself going between G and C using only a triad, right? So, like there's a G, and there's a C, right? And maybe I'll go into that in detail in another video, but try to see if you can expand playing these triads to other chords that you might know, right? Or expand playing it in other positions. Cool. Thanks so much. I hope this is helpful for you. Feel free to leave any feedback in the comments, and I hope you have fun playing your guitar, writing some music. Thanks a bunch. Talk to you later. Bye.